Hello everyone, I'm Scott Talbert, the Funnel Lawyer. Thanks for joining me for this presentation called Waterfalls and Life Preservers, or more loquaciously, Beyond GDPR and the FTC for more complete and ethical digital legal compliance for global entrepreneurs with an online presence. I'm known as the defender of the home and small business milieu, or lawyer in your corner for the little guy. So just to kind of set the tone here real quick, I wanted to share with you, this is a customer from a decade ago who not only remembers decade-old purchases, but also still wants them nearly 10 years later and would be willing to buy it all over again. So this is someone who reached out to me not too long ago, said that they'd purchased it years ago, setting up a new website. Of course, they knew enough to know that they needed proper legal compliance and website legal pages. Wanted to know how to get them before I could get in touch with this person. We had some emails that crossed in cyberspace, and they're saying, hey, look, I'd like to get this. I know some other people who would like it. Before I could get back to him to say, you already bought it once, you don't need to buy it again, he had done so. A slightly different offer, actually considerably different, but got the basic legal pages and paid $100 to get it again. So that kind of sets the tone for the type of customers that I have and the type of customer you could be. I want to begin by saying thanks, not only for being here, but also for being you. I have personally been in and studied the legal processes in countries such as Bulgaria, Romania, Greece, France, Turkey. Barely made it to Asia along the Bosphorus, as well as England. And then on non-legal business, have also traveled to the Netherlands, Mexico, Canada, Belize, the Bahamas, as well as Germany. So I've got a little bit of an international exposure myself. And then on top of that, my customers are from everywhere. As best I could count, and I know I've certainly missed some, I have at least 64 countries and territories, every continent with the exception of Antarctica. So again, thanks not just for being here, but also for being you, the type of person who is inclined to take themselves and their business seriously enough to want to do things the right way and build on a solid foundation. So you're in the right place if you have an online presence, if you have or want to have a web page, if you build websites for others, or if you're looking to start an internet business or be involved in lead generation, or if you send commercial email in any capacity. Moving on, here's what you can expect. Digital compliance for your digital presence. That's the essence of what we'll be working through today. Again, I am the Funnel Lawyer, Scott Talbert, and my aim is really threefold. Number one, to respect your time. Money is replaceable, time is not. I also want to therefore make sure that you learn useful information. We'll go through some things that involve not only training, but also a self-assessment as well as a checklist that you can benefit from. And I promise to show you something that you've never seen before. So there will be a compliment or gift to immediately boost your digital compliance score. Let's begin with a little bit of a roadmap. Yes, I am an attorney, not your attorney. I say, Scott, no cell phone, Talbert. That's actually true. I've never had a cell phone, never had a need for one, never had a desire for one. And at least one of my customers indicated that they at least approved of that. Now, my phone is not quite as bad as what you see in these pictures, although it is 20 years old and only partially works. But in any event, why listen to me? That is a great question. I shared with you that customer who came back from years and years ago to repurchase the same thing he already owns. So that kind of sets the stage and the tone. But let's dive in a little bit deeper real quick. And who is this Funnel Lawyer? So from high-octane JVs to courts in France to the berry patch. So again, the Funnel Lawyer, on the one hand, you can see JV or affiliate arrangement I had with Brian Tracy International, pretty well-known motivational speaker. There's a screenshot from my offer he promoted years ago from his website. Also, on the other side of the screen, you'll see me next to former U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft. Now, none of these necessarily mean anything, or need to mean anything, except that your typical bozo is not able to, do JV partnerships with people like Brian Tracy, and your average knucklehead is not hanging out at the European Court of Human Rights with foreign dignitaries and people like attorney generals or former U.S. attorney generals from the United States of America. Then quickly there, I'm kind of a broad-based individual with a lot of different backgrounds and interests, and have done a number of things, including producing commercial strawberries. And so there I am pictured with a local on-air talent radio station there at the Farmers Market in Fort Smith, Arkansas. So a little bit deeper on the funnel side of Funnel Lawyer. Here I am pictured with a copy of, yes, on CD, Microsoft Front Page 2000. You may say, what's that? You don't need to know if you're asking, but if you have half a clue, that kind of gives you an idea. I've been around a while, been building websites, had my first website over 2 decades ago. So that just kind of shows you I'm not a Johnny-come-lately or somebody who's just kind of piled in and wanting to do this online digital marketing thing. So I do have some experience and background on the lawyer side of Funnel Lawyer. Here is an email from XUSAG, which was the John Ashcroft picture that I shared with you. This is after I gave him a book that was after a spirited debate that I had with him, as well as Jay Sekulow from the European, he's from the American Center for Law and Justice, best known here in the States, but there's also a European counterpart in Strasbourg, France, the European Center for Law and Justice. So anyway, I think I was a bit of a curious anomaly to both of those guys, and I fell out a little bit more firmly on the civil liberties side of the national security versus civil liberties debate. And in any event, I provided an interesting book to both of those individuals called The Myth of a Christian Nation, and long story short, he replied by email. So again, most people aren't getting emails from folks like that for no reason. So additionally, just to kind of share, this is one of the people that I worked with some years ago, and then here just a few years ago reached out to me, wanted me to do some work with them, and I appreciate that. That's great, but I was kind of focused on some other things. But a good friend that I had, wanted me to handle some legal work for him, and in any event, so and as far as law school, I had actually a double full scholarship to the same law school, which is a little bit odd. But in any event, I had a full scholarship, and if for some reason that went away, there was a backup full scholarship to the same law school. Had other full scholarships elsewhere, including Wake Forest, Tier 1 law school, which I declined. Again, been to the European Court of Human Rights, worked on a case out of Sofia, Bulgaria with the Bulgarian Orthodox Church. Was somewhere around the top 3% of my class graduating, even having a wife and kids, one of which was born in the middle of law school, exempted from taking parts of another state bar exam because I did well on another, yada, yada, yada. So back to our roadmap. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of information as to why it's okay to listen to me. I think that's important because before you're going to spend time with someone, who are they? Are they even worth listening to? So anyway, now let's move on and talk about an icebreaker. And as you're about to see, this is the essence of waterfalls and life preservers. And that's both today's theme and main takeaway that I want to kind of touch on here. And I want to say too that this is not about your fear, it's about my experiences. I want to use my experiences and those of my customers to kind of share some information. It's not about scaring you into being concerned about anything or doing anything out of fear. I don't work that way. But having said that, today's theme is that stuff happens. Everything's great until it ain't. And so our objective, of course, is to avoid the ain't when it ain't great. So how do we do that? Here's the thing. It's too late at the point that you realize you're in trouble, right? If you haven't already engaged in prevention, or in the very least paved some path to a resolution of the trouble that you find yourself into. So now, as far as today's takeaway, listen, enough things are going to happen that you cannot control. And so you must control everything you can. Now that's simple, but it's not easy. And so what we want to do is we want to look at, again, preventing problems and then preparing for their resolution just in case. So I put down here, this ain't Eden. I always taught my kids that when we were growing strawberries and things. And if you want to figure out how many different ways things can go wrong, get involved in agriculture. So anyway, hold that thought. And here, this is from February of 2012. It says, a father and two sons were identified in Southeast Oklahoma drownings. Here's some pictures on the right. Now, I know more about this case than the public does because a few months earlier in December of 2011, this is a family picture that was taken. Here I am with almost no hair, some family members, and there is my brother-in-law and his two sons who drowned in that tragic boating accident with, I might add, no life insurance. And you see here, it says pulled over the waterfall. This is from an article I found online. Again, some pictures of the boys. This is important, and I want to share this. Again, here's a tip: prevention is always going to be preferable to resolution. Now, they did not know that the waterfall was there. Okay, so what can not only facilitate a resolution, but also prevention, right? So knowing influences the doing, if that makes sense. Now, another aspect that I'm fully aware of is that they did not have life preservers on or with them, I think, which may or may not have helped anyway. But again, so prevention is preferable to resolution, and part of that stems from knowledge. Had they known that that was there, a lot of things could have been different. So let's move forward. Objective number 1, I'm going to provide the warnings that nobody's talking about. So we're in uncharted waters. In that case, there's a problem with not having information, right? There's no information. If you're in unfamiliar territory, you're lacking in information. Now, prevention stems largely from what we know, and resolution is going to stem largely from what we do. If you know better, you can do better. So let's know where the waterfalls are. You can take a look at this picture, and it's sort of interesting. You can see what your perspective is here looking at these waterfalls. And now in this next photo, I want to give you the bird's eye view. I want you to have the big picture for context, because here's the crazy thing. The picture that you just saw and the picture you're looking at now are actually the same thing. But you can see how with a little bit of perspective, you can really appreciate the context, and you can anticipate things, and you can put things into a perspective. Now, objective number 2 is we want to have a backup contingency plan, basically life preservers, right? Without life preservers, there's no action, no viable action. So think about it this way. Prevention stems largely, again, from what we know. Resolution stems from what we do, as does prevention to some extent. So I want to show you things to do that not only prevent problems, but also lay the foundation to a favorable resolution. So back to our roadmap. We've talked about why you should bother listening to me. We had that icebreaker where, again, I'm sharing personal stuff from my own life and experience to kind of put some things in perspective and help you appreciate that, things happen. Now we want to move into a teaching where I want to talk about the waterfalls. Again, waterfalls and life preservers. We're going to focus on the waterfalls. These are real world online waterfalls, way beyond things we hear about regulatory agencies, FTC, GDPR, things like that. So, and keep in mind too, as we move forward, the sky is not falling. Look, you don't even have to obey the law, but you do have to be subject to it. So I often tell people too, it's the anti-scumbag rule. If you just don't be a scumbag, that can go a long way when you're online. So hopefully that'll make more sense as we go. Now let's talk about waterfall number 1, or conflict source number 1. This is other entrepreneurs. This is a long ago customer who was going to be sued for $30,000. Here's the thing. I want to make sure that I let my customers tell the story as much as possible, because they are you. So in any event, the issue here with what you're seeing is one of copyright or plagiarism allegation. Again, notice this has nothing to do with regulatory entities, FTC, GDPR, things like that. But someone got themselves in an issue over copyright plagiarism issues, was going to be taken to court for $30,000 if, of course, they didn't pay some money. So what's the solution? Well, you can delete your website before you go to bed, and then you won't get in trouble. Now, actually, I'm just kidding, obviously, but keep in mind that simply adding the proper legal docs to your web properties will suffice oftentimes. It'll keep you in business. Now, keep in mind, if you're not actually active, I mean, you could take your website offline, but the idea is to have an online presence and be in business. So let's move on and let's talk about a better solution then than deleting your website. You could have a DMCA policy that would help facilitate resolution. Again, both prevention and resolution. So you get both bangs for your buck, if you will, with such a document. Here's just customer mine I like to share again from their perspective. It says here, hey, this is an area that has really worried me and I was not sure where to turn. This is the best purchase I've made in a long time. Now, waterfall number 2, or conflict source number 2, let's talk about thieving competitors. So this is actually the opposite problem of the copyright intellectual property matter. Here is theft, and again, this has nothing to do with FTC or GDPR. This is someone I know pretty well and they are basically saying, look, somebody's copying everything. Basically everything is ours. The website, sales copy, everything. So what's the solution? Well, a basic copyright notice, obviously one that's legally viable, a copyright notice to protect your intellectual property. So sometimes you have to state the obvious, and that can be annoying. I live in the country, I have some acreage, and it's kind of annoying to think that I have to put up no trespassing signs. I mean, I'm just being honest with you, right? Because I always say it this way, listen, you may not know whose property it is, but you know whose property it is not. It ain't yours, so don't go there. But hey, this is the world that we live in, and we do what we have to do. I'm not cut from the typical lawyer cloth, and so again, I find some of these things every bit as annoying as you might, but it is what it is. And so we do what we have to do, and my customers are appreciative. Here's one that says, hey, I was blown away by what I saw. It's a godsend. There's absolutely no way to overstress how important your product is. Waterfall or conflict source number 3 is compliance officer. So here is a simple screenshot from inside of Facebook saying, hey, by the way, what is the URL to your terms of service? Now, here the issue at hand is needing to comply, with places like Facebook and having your own terms of service. Again, this has nothing to do with the government, right? So now what are you going to do? Are you just going to slam something together and just move on? That could be a bad idea. Facebook may not care if you just stick a URL in there. They can say, well, we did our best. There was a good faith effort to collect that. But them actually objecting could be the best thing that happens to you, because it could keep you out of problems if you have a highly defective terms of service agreement. So the solution here is to have something that's solid, it's airtight, drafted by a lawyer, etc. This will map out some of the ground rules for your web visitors. So again, here is a customer, hey, these are things I never even thought of. My website's protected. It's incredible and detailed. Thank you so much for the great work. Now, by the way, keep in mind that Facebook is also going to require a privacy policy as well. And speaking of which, waterfall or conflict source number 4. Now we do touch on the government regulatory agencies. So here, look, this is just part of Facebook's business model. I'm being honest with you. I think they set aside $5 billion a year just to, pay their fines and screw it, kind of move on. I think these are willful privacy violations. I think that it pays very well, and unfortunately, the people who get screwed are not the people who receive the money from the fines, and so it's just kind of a raw deal. But my point here is to draw attention to the fact that privacy is a huge issue. Look, here's the thing. I think even I think Wells Fargo, I heard recently, actually paid more in fines than they paid interest to their customers for the money that they had on deposit. So kind of some sick corporate antics, but the bottom line and the point I'm trying to make here is that privacy is a huge issue. And it's not just FTC and GDPR that you got to worry about. There's Canadian regulations, Brazil, California with their stuff, and it affects tech companies, non-tech companies. Here's British Airways and Marriott and all kinds of stuff. So it's a big deal. It really affects everybody, as well as should. Again, people should not be a scumbag, but some are. But the solution for us is just to have a legally compliant, consumer-oriented privacy policy. And of course, don't just have a privacy policy, but actually follow it. And incidentally, I'll have a privacy package gift for you here at the end. Again, a customer says, hey, using your forms for some websites I'm helping with a couple of folks on the Hill, referring to Capitol Hill. So Just kind of nice to know that my product has helped a lot of people, including folks that work on Capitol Hill with projects they're doing there for the federal government. Now, waterfall or conflict source number 5 is zealous enforcement officers. This picture's worth 1,000 words. People can be set up sting operations and, zealous enforcement officers. The solution, of course, is an FTC compliance document that I'm the first one I'm aware of that came out with specifically. It's since people have tried to copy it, of course, but what you want to do is proclaim your regulatory compliance. Again, here, I liken this a lot to the Food Safety Modernization Act that I brushed up against in the agricultural space. And so, making a good faith effort to make it clear that you're striving to comply with those types of things can go a long way, and publicly declaring the same. So again, real quick, a customer says, such a great product. I live in Australia and I'm wondering how to comply with the FTC laws. This has helped me immensely. Now, waterfall or conflict source number 6 is litigious folks and their lawyers. So here, you can kind of take a quick peek here. This is going to touch on something that I for sure pioneered, and unfortunately, fewer people have sought to try to copy. And in any event, this is really important. This is what I call the new frontier of online legal liability. Again, I called this back in 2012. And here you can see where at least there's an effort to sort of control online dialogue in social settings. And so here, take for instance, and some people are litigious for good reasons, right? But you get into some just squirrely stuff, and people are prompting people to commit suicide and bullying people, and this is just crazy. I could go on and on with example after example, but look, here's the thing. We have a legal system, not a justice system, and that's perhaps well evidenced by looking at lawsuits against gun manufacturers. Try to hold gun manufacturers liable, which is really kind of weird. I wonder if they'd hold toaster manufacturers liable for things the toasters didn't do. But in any event, that kind of gives you an idea of what we're up against. Again, the take home here is, hey, we do have, as I've often said, a legal system, not a justice system. So confuse the two at your own peril. So the solution here are set guidelines for social discourse and disclaiming liability. Again, customer says, look, I work for the city of Thousand Oaks. We're expanding our social media presence. So there you go, case in point. Okay, so waterfall or conflict source number 7. This is the court of public opinion. Now, I'm going to shift off topic here just a moment, and broadly I'm going to talk about the issue of trust. And so, but in the context of lead generation or people opting in, they want to know, is it safe to do so? Will you spam me or sell my information? Now, these examples are, again, about me. I want to focus on me and my customers as much as possible. There was a situation that happened when there was an internet outage, and in the lower right, you can kind of see me dialoguing with a friend of mine, and we were kind of talking about that issue, and whatever, the internet's out, so the internet's out. But at about that time, I had people that were visiting some of my sites and checking out an offer, and this was another long-term customer who reached out to me and she says, man, I don't have a problem accepting that you're real. Of course, this is somebody who knew me, but he says, my gosh, each of these links is broken. It yields an error. Most get a 504 timeout error because the website does not respond. Now, of course, again, we had some history together. He had a way to contact me sort of through back channels and did so. But the point here is, this is someone who actually knew me and then reached out to me to let me know that even though they knew me and knew better, they were kind of shaken by this. So, trust is a huge issue when you're online. In fact, compare these two. Imagine if you just had the top, and you can see somebody is, they have this kind of generic copyright thing, which is, I'm sure, automatic even. Does nothing to protect the web visitors, and the looks can be deceiving though. But imagine if you saw a website footer that was kind of fleshed out more, and it looked like somebody was at least taking themselves seriously and perhaps protecting your interests. Then, of course, here's an example from a page that I had set up for myself at one point. And you can kind of see social proof and then the thick footer and things like that. So it matters. It makes a difference. So the solution here is a clear anti-spam policy to engender trust and engagement. Again, when in lead generation and opting in and things like that. So again, a customer says, I wish I'd had them before I spent $1,500 with a lawyer. Now, waterfall or conflict source number 8 deals with customers and clients. Now, the issue here is, well, you name it. Here we could be dealing with refunds, chargebacks, complaints to the Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Google, social media, review crap, and all that. You name it. You want to mess something up? Just put people in the mix. So the solution here, of course, is a disclaimer to plainly obviate unnecessary liability. Again, a client says, hey, would have been real helpful if the copy and paste legal forms had been included. They're talking about an offer, something that they participated in, and lamented the fact that they had no legal pages to include in setting up their web presence. So it's a big deal. Now, back to the roadmap. We've kind of walked through those first 3. Now let's move on to do an assessment. We talked just now about the different waterfalls, conflict sources, etc. Let's move on to talk about the life preservers. And we'll do that in the context of doing your own personal digital compliance evaluation. All right, so again, dealing with the waterfalls, what are we going to do? These are some of the main waterfalls. Let's have a look at your life preservers, if any. And remember what I said earlier, if you know better, you can do better. So what you know can influence what you do. So let's know some things. Now, which camp are you in? Here, you can see there's Camp Done Nothing. These people are asleep at the wheel. They're just kind of coasting like an amoeba downstream. Now, the Done Something camp, if you look in the lower right, flat getting after it. Then people are well entrenched and good to go. So which camp are you in? Done nothing or done something? First, let's discuss Camp Nothing. If you've done nothing, do any of these sound familiar? Do you have missing links, links to nowhere, or links to somewhere? So in other words, in your footer of your website, you have nothing, or you have links that don't click. They're not really links. They don't go anywhere. You have links to places like google.com. So could put you on the spot and take a poll and say, who would say that they have no legal docs because they fall into one of these categories, but we won't do that to you. So keep in mind, if you're in Camp Nothing and you have no life preserver, now what? What are you going to do? You could continue to do nothing. You'd be rolling the dice. And look, I understand some aren't rolling the dice willfully. They just don't know what to do or where to turn. So I understand that. Now, Camp Nothing, the dice rollers, they operate on 2 faulty premises that I think it's important to call these out at the outset. It's not about the odds of things going south. It's about the magnitude of the disaster that results if they do. So here's a pro tip. Only take the risks where the upside or the potential win is huge in order to justify that risk that you took. See, what were the odds of my brother-in-law and his nephews going over a waterfall that day and drowning? They're pretty small, but it happened. So I would say wear the life jacket. See, that's exactly how tragedies occur. We weigh the odds, we gamble, and we lose. Think about a reserve parachute. I've done a bit of skydiving in my life, and think about this. You carry that reserve parachute not because you're likely to need it, but because it's a big deal if you do and it's not there. So again, this is why I said thanks for being you. You're likely not to be one of the ones who would, ask this type of question and say, well, what are the odds? So look, but again, you don't have to obey the law, but why not be insulated against it, right? So now back to rolling the dice. Question number 2 that these people will ask, if even just in their own heads, is, can I get away with it? And I would say, get away with what? See, you're going to assume all that risk just to avoid adding a few pages to your website. That's hard for me to really comprehend. So my pro tip would be, look, there's really nothing to get away with if you just avoid the risk of harm altogether. So, what are you trying to get away with? Not hiring a lawyer? I mean, I get it. It's expensive. And then you have to hope they know what they're actually doing. But again, we take risks where the potential payoff is big enough to warrant it, or the risk of harm is remarkably small. So, and of course, this is all relative to the ease of simply sidestepping the problem altogether through a cost-effective solution, which my customers do. Now, Camp Something. Let's look at an example by analogy, and I want to ask you this question. Do you have an estate plan? In other words, Are there instructions in place that decide what happens to your stuff when you die? We could take a poll, but I won't put you on the spot. See, this is actually a trick question. You all have them. Like a will or a trust, special needs trust, generation skipping distributions, charities, whatever the case may be. Um, let me share something with you. Um, Here's the thing: you can have an estate plan proactively or reactively. And if you don't take the steps that you need to take to make sure that the right things happen when you die, well, the government's going to step in and say, here's what we think that they would have wanted to do had they taken the initiative to do it. So I hope that makes sense. Now, here's the thing. We're back to Camp Nothing and the few legal docs that you sort of have, but kind of don't. And this is sort of like the enforced estate plan because you didn't take the bull by the horns. So again, like the estate plan that's forced on you, some disclosures and disclaimers can be forced on you through either implied contracts, implied covenants, the UCC sale of goods, Uniform Commercial Code. So, think about it this way. Your legal disclosures and disclaimers, those are going to be like your contract with your web visitors. So you really want the ones that you want. You want the ones that you want, right? Think about it. You want them to be airtight, produce the outcome or the resolution that you want if there's a sticky issue ahead. So, these are about decisions being made for you versus not, right? And when the rules of engagement are imposed on you in this fashion, keep in mind that number one, it's inadvertent. It's your failure to act that really brought them into existence. And so you forfeited control over important issues by outsourcing key decisions about your business. It's also going to be incomplete. It doesn't work for prevention, but only resolution because the courts have to figure out how to resolve the conflict. So this is not on your terms, right? So if you die without an estate plan, what the government does for you, that's not on your terms. And the same thing applies here with kind of a legal contract between you and web visitors, let's say. So again, that's why I say these are documents that, you don't have, but you sort of do, but you really don't. And, listen, here is what it comes down to. Anybody can sue anyone at any time for any reason or for no reason whatsoever. And pleadings are not perjury. So people can lie through their teeth when they make accusations against you. I know, but we have a legal system, not a justice system. So, this is the no prevention, only resolution mandate. So keep in mind that if these types of agreements are forced upon you, they only activate after you've already gone over the waterfall. So it's all about resolution. You're not preventing any problems whatsoever. And these are not going to help you with things like compliance with Facebook, in terms of service or privacy URLs. These do nothing to help you with the court of public opinion or stacking the deck legally with disclaimers, right? Such as I use Delaware LLC law. You can engage in forum shopping and things like that when you're proactive. But here, you're only playing the defense. And, my thing is, let's just have a quick reality check. Since you can't not have legal agreements to some extent with your web visitors, it's really about how you get them, right? So let's just kind of sum up. At this point, if you're in Camp Nothing, if you've done nothing, you have no footer, you've got links to nowhere or links to somewhere, you're really on the defense and you're resolving problems that may arrive and you're not really preventing them. So what are you going to do? You could still do nothing. You could roll the dice, play the odds, try to, quote, get away with it. You're going to be subject to legal imposition. You're not preventing, you're only resolving. It's not happening on your terms. And as far as the typical legal documents that you might have, you might kind of sort of have terms of service imposed upon you in a court of law. And then you'll also perhaps be subject to some type of disclaimer scenarios. So it kind of sucks. So let's move on. Now, back to Camp Nothing. If you have no life preserver, what are you going to do? You could take action and change camps, and you could join Camp Something. But again, what can you actually do? What options do you have to join Camp Something? So you could do something again by deleting your website or never build one. But that's not only a great way to stay out of trouble, it's also a great way to stay out of business. So, since deleting your sites is not exactly elegant, what else? You could take action. You could actually endeavor or attempt digital compliance. Now, if you're not deleting your sites, you do need legal docs. The cues for this is everywhere. For instance, these are just screenshots I grabbed from inside of WordPress. And of course, they're not going to help you with this, and they shouldn't. They're not attorneys. But they are kind of drawing your attention to it, and it's pretty important stuff, so much so that they have these warnings and things that pop up that you have to dismiss because they want to make sure that you saw it. So keep in mind that you're expected to have these and more. Again, here's Facebook, TOS, here's privacy policy. So how do you get them? Let's go back to our roadmap. And we just did an assessment. We looked at the life preservers in the context of our personal digital compliance evaluation. And let's now move into a training. All right, let's talk about actually getting the legal docs that you need, or why you might want to delete some of the ones that you have. Now, previously, we briefly looked at legal docs that you should have. So let's look at options for obtaining them. Let's get the legal docs that you need to deploy. Or again, in this process of going through this training, we'll look at reasons why you might even want to consider deleting some of the stuff that you have on your sites, depending on what you have and how you obtained it. All right, so option number one, you can steal them. Shall we take a poll? By a show of hands, how many people have stolen legal pages? Don't answer that question. It's illegal, it's immoral. You are actually violating someone else's copyright in order to protect your own copyright. So what's that all about? That's weird. And keep in mind too that you've effectively authored the documents that you stole from someone else. So hold that thought, we'll talk more about it. But hey, listen, I owe it to you to be honest. Then you can be honest with yourself. But could you really imagine being accused of a copyright violation for stealing a copyright notice for your website, and then you tell the judge that you stole something from someone else's website in order to keep people from stealing stuff from your website? Not the best defense. Here's perhaps the ultimate question, though, right? So let's say that you got your legal docs via theft from, God only knows who. Can your borrowed, quote, life preservers, right? These legal pages that we're talking about, these are your life preservers. We're trying to not only prevent problems online, but also pave the path to resolution. So can they be trusted, right? So you have words on a page, but are they worth having? Can the words on the page that you stole from someone actually do you harm? Here's the thing, actually, that itself is a trick question because you're not qualified enough to judge. Otherwise, you might have written your own legal docs. So option number two is fear-based purchases from marketers. Now listen, here's the thing. When I need a veterinarian, I don't go to the librarian. Could you imagine showing up at the library with this beast and trying to get shots or get a problem ameliorated? Here's the thing, keep in mind that words alone aren't a legal strategy or a trustworthy safeguard. So these marketers that want to jump into some niche because there's a need and try to make a buck, they don't have the knowledge or the interest. So not only is your quality going to suffer, but so is continuity. These these people, they're no more qualified than you are, right? Which kind of leads me to my next point of, keep in mind that just simply putting words on a page is not compliance. If they stole it, you also stole it by proxy, and you also have the right to know the source, which they never seem to want to share with you. So hold that thought. But it's just important to keep in mind, if you were about to inherit a lot of money, would you go to one of these guys to have them draft the will or trust that was going to be responsible for you inheriting millions from Uncle Harry? Probably not. So I'd be real careful. And here's just kind of another reason to keep in mind. Speaking of continuity, where do these guys go? These are all imposters, copycats, imitators, whatever you want to call them. These are all people who popped onto the scene after me. And, you can see what their website looks like now. So if you bought that, that sucks. Speaking of the missing marketers, I tell people, just trying to put it in perspective, you got a good deal until you didn't, right? So here's somebody who says, look, they just abandoned it. They just ignored multiple tickets. And in this case, the people are still kind of out there, but they just sort of tubed their legal solution offering. So not responding to support tickets. And I wrote back and said, listen, the bottom line is they cannot offer a lasting and viable solution in this space. It's just not going to happen. They can jump in and try to sell you something and maybe they'll succeed, but it's not going to last long term. And what it really comes down to is this, what are they peddling? Do you really want this life preserver from this slick guy? These are actually screenshots that I grabbed recently off of, this is someone who, this is kind of an imposter or imitator, whatever you want to call these people. And I remember back in the day, someone cornered them in the context of a forum and said, where did this come from? And, they were trying to figure out if they were written by lawyers. And I forget how they kind of squirmed back then and danced around that question. I remember it some time ago. It's not coming to me now. But I took some screenshots on archive.org, and here's the different ways that they tried to paint it. Expert vetted policy pages designed under the guidance of experts. I can just tell you right now, that's crap. There's simply no way. I used to work in a law firm in the Virginia Beach area, and there was a scumbag attorney who got in trouble for being a scumbag, and he had done some estate planning. I was doing estate planning, and people, of course, got kind of concerned, and they thought, well, what's going to happen to our documents? We don't have any faith and confidence in this individual, so I'm not sure if we should have any faith and confidence in the documents that we have. Anyway, long story short, they basically wanted me to go through and validate the veracity of their documents, and there's just no way you can do it. It doesn't work that way, so it wouldn't be done under the guidance of experts. It's just crazy talk. Words matter way too much, and the way they interrelate and sections relate to sections and all kinds of stuff. There's just no way you can go through someone else's document and vouch for it. You can, but it would be foolish to do so. So these are just slick marketers peddling mysteries. And again, you would never let these guys write the will or trust that would have you inheriting millions. And hey, look, in your business, maybe you're looking to make millions. So keep that in mind. So option 3 is you can do it yourself. Question is, where do you start? How do you know when you're done? How are you going to keep up with legal compliance over time? So keep in mind that just because it's easy these days to throw up a website doesn't mean that the law doesn't apply to you. As soon as you go online, you're exposed. And it doesn't mean that it's easy to handle the legal compliance part, right? So if you think about publishing back in the day with newspapers, magazines, news channels, they were big corporations. The barrier to entry was huge, and they had legal teams that could help them. So, I would just say, look, you outsource other stuff in your business. Why wouldn't you outsource the legal stuff, So again, compliance isn't easy just because publishing a web page is. So option number 3, you could be winging it solo, do it yourself. But here's something I found interesting kind of by accident one day. And I would say this, if simply reading the GDPR requires a 21st grade education, what does it take to conduct legal drafting that actually complies with it? So this was a website I went to, wordcounttool.com. I forget why I was doing it exactly, but I put in the GDPR and I thought it was real interesting that they had a readability score that they put out there. And they said that the readability for the GDPR text was 21st grade level. Now, I feel like I've been in school my entire life. I don't really know what the 21st grade is. I'm pretty sure I've reached it and passed, but I also know that most people haven't. So if you have any concerns whatsoever that you haven't been to the 21st grade, that's a pretty good clue that trying to actually comply with the GDPR on your own might be a bad idea. So back to winging it solo. Here is, again, just a customer who says, listen, this covered so many areas, things I never even thought of. It was incredible and detailed. And that's kind of the point, is you wouldn't even know what to put in there, right? That's if we're just being honest. And I need to be honest with you so you can be honest with yourself. Now, doing it yourself, do you really want a homemade life preserver? It may look good like this does. Beautiful picture, but is it? I kind of doubt it. Option number 4, you could hire a lawyer. This is the obvious, quote, obvious, good choice. There really isn't. You're looking for a lawyer that is both honest and competent, but also adept at legal writing and plain language drafting. They need to be conversant at internet marketing with a knack for digital compliance. So this could be a bad idea and even worse than you realize. Let's talk about that. So, you know, just like fear-mongering marketers, here's the reality. Attorneys can sell you anything, just like these marketers. This is why I say a lawyer is sometimes better, kind of, sort of, but maybe not really. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but keep in mind that medical doctors are by definition specialists and attorneys are generalists at best. Once you get the legal license, you can pretty much do anything, and that can be a problem. I've written extensively on that in the past as well. So what are you going to get from a lawyer? Are you going to get this? Is this your life preserver? See, they can be expensive yet imprecise, and then you don't really have a lot of recourse. Quick story, I had my wife's parents got into a bad situation with an attorney, and he screwed up some stuff with a deed for a piece of property and an easement and all this kind of crap. Anyway, astonishingly, although maybe not, the lawyer said, well, I guess you're going to have to sue me. So this person basically took no responsibility for their incompetence and their malpractice. Instead, they had malpractice insurance and said, sue me, which of course, when a lawyer says sue me, that's a pretty good indication that he's not concerned about you doing so. And so I want you to keep in mind that litigation is always expensive and seldom satisfying. So that's why this can suck. And of course, you could end up with this, right? If they're not internet savvy and really don't have a clue about that niche, as a good friend of mine says, you get what you got. So you could perhaps get what you pay for, but not necessarily. It could be a bad deal. So with attorneys, keep in mind too that the deal's kind of sort of never done. Listen, again, I can't emphasize this enough. Lawyers may be better sometimes, though not really. And it's unlikely that it'll pan out. Here's a guy who spent $1,500 with a lawyer at that time, but how many times has he been back to him? So attorneys, it can take a long time. It can never be quite right or quite finished. It's very transactional in nature. So keep in mind that whereas I've been here for a decade, still helping customers to this day, this is very transactional and they're on to the next gig. So where does that leave you? You might be left with doubt, insecurity, a nagging feeling that you're on a never-ending hamster wheel. So, how much is it going to cost the next time that you go see them? So you're probably not going to be going to a lawyer. I think I've ruined that for you or saved you some pain. But in a moment, I'll show you some solid lawyers who actually handle this the right way. Now, just to sum up, with everything that we've seen here, all of these different scenarios, they run the risk of being low quality, high cost, or both. They can be inefficient, ineffective, and incomplete. So they never really lead to peace of mind. And I want you to hold that thought as we again kind of summarize here. So we looked at Camp Done Nothing. Now we're looking at Camp Do Something. You could delete your website or never build one, but that's stupid. So if you're going to do something to get legal docs that you need, you could steal them, you could purchase them from fear-based marketers, you could do it yourself or hire a lawyer. So I do think that you should do something, but not just anything. And you also don't want something to be imposed on you, right? But you don't want garbage, that would make you wish that you had it imposed on you by the law, because that could be better than some of this crap that these people are peddling. So let's go on and let's just face some quick facts here. As challenging as these options can be, and discouraging, frankly, I mean, if you're not a lawyer, this could, I understand this could suck, and it does suck. But we still need legal docs, right? So here again, WordPress in our face. Hey, what is your privacy policy? Think about this. Software solutions such as these, they're merely going to give you the placeholder. So here's your little checkbox, but what happens when you click on the links? What's going to be there? Enter your terms and conditions, right? What's the URL to your terms? So everybody's happy to help you with the mechanics and give you a checkbox, but there's nothing to use with it. They alert you, but they don't help you. And again, understandably, because they're not qualified. Let's go back to our roadmap. Having gone through the teaching, the assessment, the training, let's go on to look at the free resource. This is the Lawyer to Warrior Digital Compliance Quality Control Checklist, or what I call the DCQC checklist. This is going to help you no matter where you choose to go get your legal docs. So again, whether you steal it, buy PLR crap, do it yourself, or hire a lawyer, you need more than just words on a page. So these are lessons and landmarks to stack the deck for you. Again, keep in mind what you're after is airtight docs that you want, that are going to provide the prevention that you are after and yield the clear resolution that you desire when there are issues that come up down the road. So the first lesson I want to share is contra preferentum. Contra what? Contra preferentum. Let's use a quick example. So let's say that Jack sells a house to Jill. The contract reads, shed and bird bath belong to the home owner. So who gets the shed and the bird bath? Could take a poll. We could see where you end up on that. Does it go to Jack or does it go to Jill? We won't do that poll, but this is the issue with contra preferendum. And this kind of stuff happens in real life. I hate to say it again. I go back to my in-laws, but they had an issue one time selling a property, and there became a dispute, believe it or not, afterwards over who got the clothesline. So now keep in mind that I shared this notion of contra preferentum with you after talking about hiring a lawyer to do your legal docs, because it even applies here. You're going to be responsible even if a lawyer did it, because ultimately they may just say what they said to my in-laws, which is sue me. And you may have to file a claim against their malpractice insurance, and that's a ton of fun. So contra preferendum. And here's basically the concept that you need to understand, or what's in play here. What this really means is the judge needs to come up with a way to figure out whether Jack or Jill is going to get it, right? So you're ultimately responsible for the documents as if you drafted them, whether you stole them, whether you have a lawyer do it, whether you do it yourself. The idea, the concept here is if Jack had written the contract, if Jack wrote the shed and the bird bath belong to the homeowner, Jack's going to lose. If Jill had written the contract, Jill loses. The idea is, and they're aspiring towards justice. The concept is this: if you wrote it, you were in the best position to be able to clarify it, right? So the ambiguity is construed against the drafter. I'm having flashbacks to law school, but that's ultimately contra preferentum. The ambiguity is construed against the drafter. Anyway, you don't have to worry about that if you make the proper decisions. Now, the lesson here about contra preferentum, look here, and I went out of the gate doing plain language drafting, but notice made clearer, YouTube, Microsoft, updating our terms, it's all made clearer, improved readability. Man, they've been doing this for a decade at least. And I don't understand why you still can't understand their stuff, but they're always improving it for transparency and readability and updating our terms, and it's more clear. Oh my gosh. You know, here you go again. We're improving our terms of service effective March 31, and improved readability and you know, communication and all this kind of stuff. And my point is that they know that if they're the drafter, if they're drafting their docs, they're responsible for that. And you can see them endeavoring to do that. So in any event, that's kind of the lesson. The landmark here is, hey, can people read and understand your documents, right? So as far as the DCQC checklist, the first thing I want you to keep in mind is clear, plain language drafting. So here again, one of my customers says, look, they were fairly straightforward and easy to read. That's what you're after, no matter where you get your legal docs. It has to be that way, because if there's an ambiguity, you're screwed. Lesson number 2, shooting blindfolded. Now, here in particular, I want to focus on new laws. And here is an example from a trade publication that I got in the agricultural space. And here, you can see here, requirements have yet to be nailed down. It doesn't stop them from being requirements, right? And this was a huge problem with the Food Safety Modernization Act. Nobody knew what in the freaking world any of it meant, and yet they were trying to enforce it. So that sucks. In any event, why is this relevant? So look here. This Newton Mail example, it says, when you use read receipts, you're responsible for obtaining any required consent, including people who reside in Europe. Here's another thing, you know, you certify that you're complying with all applicable laws, right? So you're forced to say, yeah, I'm going to do that. But here's the thing. It can be difficult to know um, if you haven't been guided by someone who's adept in the space. It can be difficult to know if you're complying in the way that you should be with these types of things. And so you do need somebody who's skilled in the game to help you through that. So I like to say, can you say that again? And we're talking about the concept of redundancy inside of the documents. An example of this would be an upgrade that I did in my package not too long ago, where I took some different provisions and pulled it out and created an income and earnings disclaimer and potential affiliate compensation disclosure. So I like to have both intra-doc and inter-doc redundancy. Look for that in your solution, because that's going to help you a lot, making sure that you get your point across, because you can not only say, here it is, and it's, clear, plain language drafting, and you can understand it, but it's also in there, 3 or 4 different times. Lesson number 3, compliance is a moving target. There's always changing laws, not only new laws like we just talked about, but also changing laws. And you can see over here, back to this example, it says excessive and ever-changing food safety standards. And this sucks. These are people who just want to grow food, and they got to deal with all that crap. So here you go. Here's some other examples. Terms are updated. Privacy is updated. Facebook, we're changing this. Ensure the privacy. Stripe, we've updated this. And Gemini, we've updated this. And so you're always going to have changes, amendments, updates, and things like that to have to deal with. So, can you keep up with your legal docs? Can you keep up? So back to the DCQC checklist. What are you going to do to stay current? An example of this would be the 2020 California privacy policy. Are you going to have an attorney on retainer? I mean, for every time you turn the corner, there's something else looming. And then, of course, with some of these, just like we talked about with the Food Safety Modernization Act, nobody knows what in the world any of it means. And so it takes a while for there to be some test cases and all this kind of nonsense to actually figure out what it means and what's required of you. So as I like to tell my customers, hey, look, I'll keep up with you so you don't have to keep up with me. Lesson number 4, you need to plan for what you cannot anticipate. So notice here, I happen to be on weather.com, and here's a food safety thing. Here the CDC talking about avoided romaine lettuce from this region. Now, my point here in sharing this example is that I went to the weather website, and here we're talking about food safety. This is just so weird. But this can happen to you. And so I say that you want to over disclose, and people will sometimes say, oh, this doesn't apply to me. This doesn't apply to me. I say just over disclose. Can you account for everything? What happens if at some point you run advertisements, AdSense or something like that on your website, and the next thing you know, you've got something that looks like it's making some sort of a health claim? So just over disclose and disclaim. I think that's just a classic example of how you could end up in a bad spot, and you provided the cyber real estate for that thing, whether or not you intended to. And listen, again, we have a legal system, not a justice system. So you really do want to try to account for everything by over disclosing as much as possible. 5th lesson, good faith and fair dealing. Here you can see here some were taking a wait and see approach. Some said, plain wait and see isn't a good decision. What's the alternative? Putting out some bad product, getting people sick, and then being sued as a business, or potentially, if they were aware they had a problem, going to jail. That's not a good alternative. It's expensive. And so note to self, remember that, this is about taking care of things proactively. We don't want to roll the dice. We want to try to be proactive and display good faith and fair dealing. So for the 5th item on the DCQC checklist, I say don't wait, anticipate, do the best you can to demonstrate goodwill. So here we go. Your digital compliance IQ is rising. So back to how are we going to go about getting the documents, whether you steal them, buy them from a sleazy market, or do it yourself, or go see a lawyer. These are the 5 points that you want to keep in mind. And I'm going to make sure that this is available to you so you can reference it, whichever way you plan to go with this. So the bottom line is legal digital compliance sucks. I know it, you know it. There are always going to be new laws, changing laws, confusing laws, which is why you really need to buy peace of mind instead. Don't focus on digital compliance, focus on peace of mind. So, because listen, it's still going to be necessary. We're not getting away from it. Here's another screenshot I thought was interesting. Just going to auto parts thing and privacy policy. wow, I mean, really, I just need an alternator, privacy policy, right? Here is someone from the UK who says, hey, where do I find the templates and the information for the terms and conditions, privacy disclaimers, etc.? You can't get away from it. Here's somebody who came across these placeholders. And if they don't have something to put there, then they have links to nowhere, or, placeholders or links to somewhere other than a good legal document. So this is why I recommend that you buy Peace of Mind. Here's just more examples of people looking for disclaimers, terms and conditions. What's a one-stop legal solution shop? What's the stuff that I need? How do I be compliant? And how do I get my disclaimers? So again, you're not alone. People are looking for this. But the challenge is, how do we get a once and for all, final and trustworthy solution that's promoting peace of mind? And, what if it could also help us build our business? So it's kind of a little, oh, by the way, because I have something exciting to share here in a second. Listen, at the end of the day, keep in mind, we want something that's airtight. We want the documents that we want. We want them to produce the outcome or the resolution that we want, right? So let's go back to our roadmap. Now I want to talk about a special offer. So we're about an hour in. This is perfect timing. We've got a lot of background. You know about me. You know about the waterfalls. You know about the life preservers. We've done a personal assessment. We've gone through some training. I've got the DCQC checklist for you as a free resource. I've got something else coming up for you, and it's just a good time to show you an optional, done-for-you, turnkey, one-and-done, plug-and-play solution that's designed to attain legal compliance while also building your business. So let's do that. All right. So we talked about, in the context of the checklist, what we're looking for with those 5 different features. Now I want to go on to talk to you about the documents that I provide for my customers. There's a couple of options here. There is the option to get custom documents, which we have a deep discounted offer at $7,500. But then we also have a plug-and-play turnkey solution that's most likely going to be suitable for the vast majority of people. So here is, I told you that I would show you some lawyers who were doing it the right way. That was a bit of a trick question, if you will, or it wasn't a question, but these are attorneys, lawyers, who actually come to me to have me do this for them. So I say, look, I'm the lawyer that other lawyers are outsourcing this to. Here's one. He says, look, I'm very impressed with Scott's work. I do think it's important to get a quality solution from a legal guy who knows his stuff. And like I was just saying, you can get custom docs for $7,500, but as he admits, and I'm not going to try to sell you $7,500 custom docs if you don't need them. He agrees and even says, look, it's not necessary to have something highly customized and therefore expensive for your legal pages. If you're a huge company and you've reached that point to where you want something that's custom, me and my team can help you with that. Most people are not going to be there who are seeing this. So that's why we have something that's going to be much better suited for you. But I did want to share this. I think it's important for you to realize that I not only have my customer base that's, people perhaps just like you, but also lawyers. And here's another one. It says here, he provides a superior product, and this is a must-have for any type of funnel. You really need this product to be compliant with everything out there. Here's another lawyer. You are most definitely doing a great service and benefit for many others who take you up on your tremendous offer. It's the cheapest business insurance policy on the market. Another one says, your products are great and worth much more than the price. With your education and experience, I certainly would not want to pay your hourly billing rate. And here is another lawyer who says, that's an area of the law I know nothing about. And so, yes, I would love to have your disclosure. So the bottom line is here, you can hire a lawyer to draft your legal docs, but there's a good chance that I did theirs. Sort of. I mean, there's plenty of lawyers out there, right? But you see what I'm saying. So here's the thing. Keep in mind that, of course, if they can't help themselves, that also means that they can't help you. So the real question is, do you want to pay a lawyer for, quote, practicing law? Reasonably good chance that's exactly what they'd be doing. But they're happy to take your money, and legally they can do so. So with that backdrop, I'm introducing your chance to plagiarize, with my permission, the practical, cost-effective solution for the most daunting aspect of running a legitimate, long-term, legally compliant business built on a solid foundation. This is, and for the first time ever available, the Peace of Mind Business Builder Bundle, or what I call POMB 3. Now, this gives you a chance to step right into a decade of proven efficacy. It's settled. It's an 11-year track record. It's not expensive to participate in this. Here, keep in mind, we talked about, you want to take risks where the potential payoff is big enough to warrant it, or the risk of harm is small, right? Talked about where the upside or the win or the payoff is huge to justify the risk or exposure. What this allows you to do is mitigate all risk completely by getting a tested, proven solution that's not going to bankrupt you. So here again, 100% success rate over 11 years. The peace of mind notion comes from a customer. I know I'll have greater peace of mind with this. Another customer says, I'm really impressed, and for the price I paid, it was nothing compared with the peace of mind. So you're looking at, we're protecting an estimated 70,000 plus websites, again, in at least 64 countries. You can participate in that now. So as for the POMB3, there are two sides or two tracks, right? They give you the opportunity to check this off your to-do list forever. On the one side, we have the peace of mind pages, as they've affectionately been called, the website legal pages. On the other side, we have an agency reseller program that we are officially unrolling for the first time. This is the business builder track. So let's take each of those in turn. Track one is peace of mind, website legal pages for 2020. These are the 8 core documents. There are more now. You could go to websitelegalpages.com. That's currently $9.97. We have at times run a special at $4.97. The value is more like $19.97, and in reality, the cost to create this would be somewhere thereabouts $10,000, based on the amount of time that it would take to actually do it right, at about $7.50 an hour, which is what I would bill. So no, I mean, again, you can find somebody to do it for less, but do they know what they're doing and whatever? So, and they're having to do it for you for the first time, and God only knows where that goes. So here you can get the website legal peace of mind package. You'll never have to worry about digital compliance again. This will give you compliance with the regulatory agencies. This will give you the prevention. So you're going to have docs and stuff in place to prevent problems, but then also if things go sideways, a lot of the things that we talked about, it's not regulatory compliance. It can just be other people, customers causing problems, but it gives you a path to resolution. So here's the thing, having docs, legal docs, is not your goal. Having docs that are actually worth having is the goal. So, these are effectively the contract that you're going to have with your web visitors. It's about what you've agreed to do and not to do. So here's the thing. Let's now let's evaluate me, right? The peace of mind pages. Let's look at the score for those 5 different aspects that we're looking at. The first one was plain language drafting. Here again, coming from a customer of mine, me and him having a dialogue back and forth. And this is what I was talking about when all of a sudden Google decides that they need to have documents that are easy to understand. I was talking about plain language drafting long before that. But so let's put me under the microscope. Check plain language drafting. That's what I do. That's what I've been known for. So you're covered there. Again, this is about the quality control checklist, and whatever solution you get, you need to tick these 5 boxes. So in all fairness, let's make sure that I do that for you. Number 2, redundancy. So here again, me talking back and forth with customers and stuff. Additionally, for general redundancy, there are provisions designed to be intentionally repetitive, etc. So again, it's within documents and also across documents. This is what I do. I knew enough to put it in the checklist, right? So I know enough to do it in the documents that I provide. Number 3, you want to stay current. Here's another example. This is where someone, got updates and said, wow, you're one of those rare responsible people who follow up with long ago customers when an update comes out. So again, staying current. I'm in it for the long haul. Slick marketers who kind of try to jump into the space, they fall off the wagon along the way. So just be aware of that. But, I'm still here, and we're going to help you stay current. Number four, over disclosure. So I always err on the side of over disclosure. Um, this is about, I shared the AdSense example of, what happens if there's something that looks like a health claim that displays as an ad on your site. So again, these aren't just things I'm saying, these are things that I do inside of my documents. But these are conversations that I have with my customers too. And so you can kind of see proof of that here. And then fifth and finally, don't wait, anticipate. So you want to have a good faith effort to show that you're trying to comply. Here's a customer who says, man, I feel great knowing I've got my online legal protection set up before getting any further into internet marketing. So again, I want to emphasize before, we want to try to be ahead of the curve, and before you get too carried away with your business, or if you have, you want to kind of catch up and then anticipate where things are headed, and good faith effort to comply. Now, here's the thing. What we're talking about with this particular package makes this available for unlimited personal websites and also a free perpetual rights package, right? So again, we've added some additional documents. There's more to come over time as need be. But generally, this is going to come with, if you go to websitelegalpages.com, it's $197 a year. That's going to cover both the annual license fee with respect to the intellectual property component. Then also there's an annual service fee, which is really going to help keep us in business with respect to the updates, the upgrades, providing a members lounge, premium support, and things like that. But what we really decided to do, the approach here with this package, was we wanted to kind of add to and take away, right? So we wanted to add some benefits to it and take away some of the limitations. So again, unlimited personal sites, as far as return on investment, this is the gift that keeps on giving, right? Each time the law changes, you're covered. If it's quick and easy for you to sidestep these issues, we want to make it possible for you to do so. And we'll be here for you going forward. So just to kind of recap this, you're looking at a $0 annual license and update fee, unlimited sites. You can be bulletproof by bedtime with this package. Again, unlimited personal sites, free perpetual use license, free perpetual updates, upgrades, premium support, and members lounge. Now, on track two, this side, this is the Business Builder agency reseller license program, right? So typically the cost to obtain a vendor platform license, this has evolved over a period of time. I'll cover a little bit of that in a moment, but typically it's $19.97 to be set up as a vendor. Here you can see from a prior customer, hey, I'm wondering if you would consider selling me master resale rights. So I promise you I'd show you something that you've never seen before. We've never done this systematically. We've kind of played with it a little bit over time, and that's how really we got to where we are now. But this is the Agency Reseller License Business Builder Program. Again, $19.97. Had thought to put it on sale at $9.97 rather. You'll see what we have in store for you here in just a moment. But here again, another customer says, hey, it looks like you found yourself a great niche. Of course, they kind of wanted to be involved in it. If I want to sell the same thing to my own clients, can you give me a license to do that? So really phase one of this evolution for this package was we said, okay, well, listen, as long as you sell it for $97 and up. But then what happened is we kind of moved on, right? And customers came back and said, hey, look, I love the idea of a turnkey solution for the delivery of the product and updates, because what we realized is we not only needed to take care of our customers, but our customers' customers. And so kind of getting them plugged in, having, a placid delivery, making sure they got updates and things like that. So then this person comes back and says, hey, look, am I required to sell them, or am I able to give them for free as a bonus? And we got to thinking about that, and we kind of moved into phase two with this thing and kind of played around with it and said, well, you know what, I guess if you give it away as a bonus to another purchase, as long as that's $97 or more, I guess that would be okay. So that was kind of phase two in the evolution. Then we got to phase three. And again, add to and take away. We want to add to it some great features and benefits for you and take away any of the limitations. So we got to, this went from, giving it away as a bonus to another purchase to just giving it away, period, as a lead magnet for lead gen purposes or things like that. And so we came up with this giveaway license that people can use to either boost commissions, if you will, for selling other products, or they can use this just as a lead gen, or, we'll cover a little bit more of that. But here's some ideas I want you to think about. Now we've got a hands-free product delivery and customer care vendor platform in place, the all-new giveaway or lead gen license. All that's free, right? We have these license packs that were typically $297 for 25 or $497 for 50. Now, as you'll see, you'll be able to get these for as low as $1.94, even $3, $4, $5, $6 a pop. It's dirt cheap. If you look at the ROI, example one, imagine 3,216% return on investment. Here you can see you get them for $5.94 each, sell it for $197. That's 33 times your money, or 49 times your money if you sell it for 97 bucks, but you got it for just $1.94. That's 4,900% on your money. Hard to do in the stock market. Example three, 100 times your money. Get them for $1.94, sell it for $197. Still crazy, really reasonable. 55% return on investment. So big deal. Again, lead generation, conversion booster, or a loyalty gift, right? So think about that. What if you wanted to use these to gain, retain, or reward customers? So this is great for using as like an unanticipated customer reward or retention reward or gift or something like that. I've done some things in the past in the travel industry in that space, and they work really good as unannounced bonuses and all sorts of things. So hey, look, here's the great thing about this, right? I understand digital compliance is kind of a jiggy thing. It sucks. That's why I really want to help sell you peace of mind, really. Instead, it's a lot more pleasant. The elephant in the room, of course, is, hey, this is not a sexy, shiny object. You know, I want to make money, not spend it. I get it. And now this is what we're allowing you to do. And actually boost the efficacy of your business with whatever product or service you do sell. And the great thing about this is, listen, if you were to buy into a biz op or something like that, you haven't made money, you've spent it. Now you have to turn around and do this or that or whatever, or invest more or sell, you know, whatever. So this is the best way to actually make money with whatever business that you're in, whatever product or service that you offer. You can focus on that instead of compliance. So let's kind of take a look here real quick and recap. Peace of Mind Business Builder Bundle, POMB3. Again, we got track 1, Peace of Mind, track 2, Business Builder. So now you're going to be not only legally legit, but also selling the most widely needed, evergreen, generally applicable, all-purpose product that's needed by everyone with an online web presence. So, you know, here's the thing too, what's so great about it, there's nothing to think about, right? I mean, I don't even want to say no brainer. That's just is so old and overused and abused. But, you know, with a business opportunity or something like that, you know, there's nothing here to really commit to. You don't have to decide, oh, I'm not sure if I want to, you know, buy into that business opportunity because I'm not sure if I want to have to do this or that or whatever. Well, you already need to be compliant for your own online presence. And here's an opportunity to help other people do it in the context of your own business. And again, use this for gaining and retaining and lead gen and bonuses, and it's the complete package. And here we go. Here's what we come up with. If you want to go to funnel.lawyer/go/POMB3, here is what we've come up with for you. So for just a whopping $497, that's it, $497 and $0 a year, you can purchase into POMB3 track 1 and track 2, participate in the Peace of Mind website legal packages, pages package, as well as the Business Builder, that's the agency reseller license program. You'll have access to a 24/7 members lounge, unlimited personal sites license, premium support, a perpetual license, free updates and upgrades, again, all delivered inside of that members area. And here's the thing, $497 is all that anyone can possibly pay today. So think about this. People sell digital marketing courses for $997, $1997, $49.97, and what training or degree or student loan debt do they have? How have they proven themselves? I mean, why is that worth it, right? So here's the beautiful thing here. I'm not selling loss. I'm selling loss prevention. And this is something that you will actually use and get the benefit from immediately. Now, as far as actually getting the license kits for the agency reseller license program, you're going to be in that program. You're automatically in. You don't have to worry about that. We give you several different options, gold, silver, and bronze. So however you want to go about actually getting the refill kits to be set up inside of that vendor platform and to be able to, again, participate in that provided turnkey delivery system for your folks. And that's where you can pick different options based on whatever you want. In the very least, as I shared with you, typically it's $297 for 25 license kit, refill kit, and $497 for 50. Here, you're going to be locked in as often as you like. You can come back and get a 50 license pack for just $297. If you're ready to rock and roll right now, there are options in there for you to get those even cheaper. So that's the package. Now, there's a ton of bonuses that go with it too. I mean, alone, we can stop there, and some people may want to go ahead and get busy, but I do want to quickly go over some bonuses for you just because we're kind of piling it in there to go over the top and round things out for you. So again, funnel.lawyer/go/POMB3. $497 is all anybody can pay today, and you just decide how you want to go about getting your refill kits for that agency reseller license program. All right, back to our roadmap. Let's cover the 8 bonuses. Bonus number 1, commercial email notice protection. This is what I also call the email disclaimer. This is a companion bonus to the website legal pages. $97 value. You could go buy it right now for that. This is yours free. Cost to create, they're about $750, again, based on taking an hour to research this and draft this at $750 per hour. So now not only are your website legal pages going to be intact, but now you're going to have an email disclaimer for all of your emails. Anything that even you think could possibly have commercial intent, now you're going to be covered with that disclaimer. So bonus number 2, the private partner program. Now this is important because whereas the email disclaimer was the companion product to the website legal pages, here this private partner program is actually companion bonus to the agency reseller program. And here's why. What's going to happen is you are going to be auto-approved into the private partner program and set up for the max commission as one of the Lawyer to Lawyer, Funnel Lawyer affiliates, right? Now, this has potentially unlimited value because what happens is even if you use your refill kits and you give those website legal pages away to your folks, there is going to be an attached funnel with relevant and related sister products, if you will, companion products. You're going to earn commissions on that. So now what's nice is not only do we have the vendor platform for the delivery and updates and all of that for your folks, but also they're going to be given the opportunity to upgrade into related and relevant offers that will further benefit them, and you get paid at the same time. So again, here you can even earn on the funnel when giving away legal docs. And I'd shared this previously where the guy talked about how much he loved the turnkey solution. But here's where he goes on to say, oh my gosh, along with how it would use the affiliate link for any upgrades. And that's precisely what we're talking about here. You'll be set up. You'll be able to use your affiliate link and you'll get credited for the purchases that are made in that funnel. Now, the third bonus is a charter membership in the Digital Compliance Alliance. And so this is part of the evolution of my company, Lawyer to Warrior, as we have evolved into the Digital Compliance Alliance. Now, I have my partner, lawyer partner, is actually, ironically, the only remaining law school contact I stay in touch with. And part of that's because she's awesome. And the other part is because she's the personal trustee for my family trust. So, we have 5 sons, and when I'm gone, they kind of take over, and she's the person that I trust to have in charge to handle all of that segue. So this is huge. If I trust her with my kids, it's probably good to trust you with her as well. Also, those as part of this charter membership, this complimentary membership that you're going to get, typically $197 a year value, you're going to get it free. You'll be entitled to member-only discounts and more benefits as a charter member in the Digital Compliance Alliance. And this also kind of goes back to where we're headed with, how are you going to keep up with it all? Well, I'll keep up with you so you don't have to keep up with me. Bonus number 4, email marketing best practices. So this is what I call E3, best practices for avoiding the slippery slope. This is ethical email etiquette. And this is actually a case study based video training where I provide real world examples from my own inbox of what not to do. Some of this goes back to, don't be a scumbag, but I want to share this with you to kind of augment the email disclaimer, because there are things that you can do and not do in the context of sending commercial email that can really help your business a lot, avoid conflicts, and make you much better appreciated by the people that you serve. Bonus number 5, I mentioned earlier something about my experience and exposure in the travel space. This is the website Legal Pages $100 flight check. You can save up to $100 on your next travel. This is yours free. Bonus number 6, Perpetual Profits Trilogy. So ironically, I'd shared with you, I probably need to go back and see if I can update this, but this is something that me and a partner did years ago. This all comes down to how a guy who's never owned a cell phone sold $50,000 in smartphone apps. So this is crazy. Yep, never owned a cell phone, and yet me along with a partner, and he did the heavy lifting, let me say. He's much more adept at these things, and he has a cell phone. But in any event, we created this app and sold more than $50,000 worth of it. And this was years ago. We badly, well, neglected isn't even the word. We haven't even done anything with it. And you can see here, $7 isn't much money. But the point is you talk about perpetual profits, it just keeps coming in, and we've abandoned it. It's been years. So imagine if we'd stuck with it. Maybe we should have, but I didn't really care to, and neither did he. But this is important because there's something to this, and if I can do it, I suspect you can do it. And this trilogy will help you decide if that's something that you want to pursue, and it's proven, right? This isn't some pie in the sky kind of thing. So, bonus number 7. This is huge. So this is the value received to benefits achieved, the VRBR guarantee, right? So what I call the 1 hour lawyer in your corner guarantee, bonus number 7. And we're kind of going crazy with the thing. I actually intended to take this off, but I forgot to, and so I guess we'll leave it. I'm just being honest here. The 1 hour guarantee would have been sufficient, but yeah, I'd played with making it 3 hours, and that's what's on the screen, so that's what we'll stick to. But here's the bottom line. You get to enjoy the same 100% efficacy that's protecting tens of thousands of websites worldwide with this 1 hour, now 3 hour business insurance policy. So, listen, here's the thing. Like I said before, you rarely get any instant benefit without any extra investment of time or money. This is a product that you can put to use right away, and you're already good to go. You've already gotten the benefit from it, right? So this is one refund you would never want because you've already gotten what you paid for. What we've done here is we've just kind of gone out there on a limb and said, we've never had any problems with this. We've got a 100% success rate, and we're so sure that this is going to be the same for you that if you run into any trouble, we'll spend an hour kind of debugging the issue with you. So in any event, this is going to be 3 hours for you. So that's that. Seriously doubt you'll ever use it, but hey, it's nice to know that that's there for you if that should happen. So. And then bonus number 8, this is going to provide you with optional early access, deep discounted access to website legal protection. So again, part of us evolving here with the Digital Compliance Alliance, this is huge. This is the Website Legal Pages companion product. This is the full legal complete suite, if you will, and you'll be the first to be able to actually have a chance to own this when this is complete. So just this, something that we've decided to do to kind of round out the basic legal pages and the email disclaimer and things like that, because people like to have some guidance in this space. They like to have some additional training and to know that there are resources that they can go back to and things like that. So this is going to be huge. We'll have a bigger announcement about that later. You'll be the first one to have access, and it's going to be a big deal. So we're excited about that. So, all right, here it is. If we can smash it all into one slide, and I would encourage you, to consider this. The best testimonial for you is you. And so you can be your own testimonial today. This is what the package looks like. And, I want you to be your own testimonial. I don't want you to be this. Here's a couple of examples. Again, this is not to scare you, but this is just reality, right? So here's where someone I know reached out to me. Somebody's in hot water over a DMCA issue. They want to know about the costs associated with fighting this crap. And so, again, when there's no prevention, the best you can hope for is resolution. And it can become expensive, and then the resolution is not happening on your terms. And so I don't want you to be a screenshot like this in my next PowerPoint presentation, right? It's better to be a happy customer. And so here's somebody else, kind of a contract dispute. They didn't have a contract. So again, it's important to have the documents that you need to have if you're going to be in business. So here we go. Just to recap again, look at it in a slightly different way with the bonuses on screen. Again, just $497 plus the license packs, whichever way you want to go with it. Listen, you may never have trouble when you're online, but it'll be too late once you know for sure. So again, be your own testimonial today. Track 1, website legal pages, peace of mind package. This is updated for 2020, $19.97 value, free unlimited personal sites license, free perpetual use license, free perpetual updates, upgrades, premium support, and members lounge. Track 2, agency reseller license, the business builder program, $19.97 value, deep discounted 50 count license packs, the free done for you turnkey automated product fulfillment and support, as well as the giveaway license. Just $497 is all anybody can pay today. You get the 8 bonuses, and then you just decide what you want to do in the way of the license pack. So let's take a quick closer look at that. We're about 90 minutes in, so this is just about perfect. I hope this has been beneficial for you. I hope you've learned some things. I hope you've gotten some good resources, wrapped your brain around this and gotten your bearings on what's in play. So again, you can go to funnel.lawyer.go/custom, and for $7,500 we'll do the custom docs, or go to funnel.lawyer/go/POMB and choose a pricing option. So again, you could elect to do $497 today, and then just $97 a month recurring, and you'll get 50 free licenses today, and then you'll get 50 each month. At $97 a month, you can cancel anytime. If you're not quite ready for that, I totally get it. For $497 today, you can go ahead. Again, I said that the most that anybody can spend today is $497, because even in the gold option, it's $497. You get 50 free licenses, but you're not paying for them. With the silver option, it's $497 today also. And then we're going to push this out till next month. So we're not in a hurry. You don't need to be. Don't need to break the bank. $497 today, $197 next month, just one time. No recurring, no no kind of ongoing continuity thing here. But you'll get 50 licenses next month for that $197, just once again. And so you're getting a huge discount on those. And then you'll be able to come back and get 50 at that 25 kit price of $297 on demand. It's typically $497, and it's just going to be $297 for you whenever you want to take advantage of that. Now the bronze package is $497 today, but if you're not sure when you're going to start to use the reseller or the giveaway license package, just wait. We're going to go ahead and, like I said, lock you in at just $297 for 50. It's on demand, and you get it anytime that you want. So those are the options for you right there. I again hope that this has been beneficial for you. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you can appreciate the package that we have in place for you, not only to get digitally compliant and achieve peace of mind in your own business, but also to be able to use our turnkey vendor platform as an opportunity for you to assist other people who obviously need this as well. You can use this for lead generation, give it away, sell it, make money, whatever the case may be. 3 great options for you. $497 is all you can spend a day. You decide how you want to segue into the refill kits. And again, thanks for spending your time with us here today. And we will see you again soon. Take care and goodbye.